In the beginning of the drama, our main character Yu-chan is introduced as one of the most talented programmers in Korea, working for the well-known programming company named Nextin. The company Nextin is portrayed as a desirable workplace with luxurious benefits for its employees. Yu-chan appears in an interview to announce that the company is looking to hire new employees, indicating that there will be upcoming interviews for applicants. Meanwhile, Bo-ra, our female lead, is shown in a job interview where she impresses the managers with her exceptional memory skills. However, they mock her for lacking any other abilities beyond her strong memory. Once she realizes she has been rejected, she leaves the place feeling upset. She decides to meet her friends at a restaurant in an attempt to calm down. As she exits, she catches a glimpse of Yu-chan's interview on TV, causing her eyes to light up. Excitedly, she informs her friends that she knows him. Meanwhile, Yu-chan is seen conversing with his assistant director and his close friend, Tae-ju, who is also considered one of the company's founders. Tae-ju questions whether Yu-chan intends to continue his treatment journey, revealing that Yu-chan suffers from face blindness. Despite this revelation, Yu-chan adamantly rejects the idea of seeking help. Next, they require the presence of one of the company's managers who introduces them to his latest creation, a digital secretary capable of storing information and identifying sounds. Due to the hefty financial requirement, he seeks funding from the government. While returning home, Bo-ra receives a message informing her of rejection from another interview she had attended previously. Feeling disheartened, she walks the streets until she encounters Tae-ju. Tae-ju appears to take a liking to her immediately and engages in conversation, expressing pride in his work at the company. Upon arriving home, she encounters her housemate and closest companion, Min-soo, to whom she confides that she has been turned down in her recent interviews. However, Min-soo reveals to her that she has been accepted in one of her interviews, prompting Bo-ra to feel happy for her friend. Subsequently, she retreats to her room and initiates a video call with her family. Following this, she conducts research on the company's upcoming events and resolves to apply for a job interview. The next day, we observe Bo-ra shopping for an attire to wear to the interview. On the day of the interview, Yu-chan is seen at the church, confiding in the monk about his long-lost girlfriend Kim, whom he hasn't seen in years. Simultaneously, Bo-ra is getting ready for her interview. Next, Yu-chan arrives at the company and goes underground to meet the new employees. He stands up to deliver a speech, while Tae-ju and his assistant observe. Yu-chan initiates a conversation with the attendees about the company, posing difficult and unnecessary inquiries. Bo-ra struggled to respond to his queries, and those who failed to answer were subsequently let go. Displeased with the situation, stood up and reprimanded Yu-chan in front of everyone, showcasing her impressive memory skills. However, Yu-chan appeared unimpressed by this display of talent, which prompted her to assert her identity as Kim and demand respect. She stormed out of the room, leaving Yu-chan astonished upon hearing her name and causing him to believe that she was his long-lost girlfriend. He attempts to follow her outside, but he fails to catch her. Later on, we see him in an interview with Tae-ju and his assistant, where he mentions the need to showcase the digital secretary invention to the Prime Minister. He explains that he requires someone with a strong memory to help convey the information effectively, and he recommends the girl who argued with him earlier. Subsequently, Bo-ra receives a call from the company requesting to meet her. She dresses up nicely for the meeting, and upon arriving at the company, she encounters Yu-chan. He questions why she mentioned Kim's name, but to his surprise, she denies saying that name and emphasizes that her name is Bo-ra. However, when he decides to hire her, he informs her that she will undergo a 3-day trial to test her skills. He hands her a file containing all the information about his digital secretary invention and instructs her to memorize it for a presentation to the Prime Minister. Bo-ra is then introduced to Tae-ju, who warmly welcomes her and escorts her to her office. Tae-ju explains that Yu-chan may not recognize her by name, as he struggles with face recognition. The following day, Bo-ra encounters Yu-chan in the elevator and is startled when he notices a necklace that he had given to his ex-girlfriend. Yu-chan questions her about the necklace, causing Bo-ra's heart to race as she nervously explains that it was a gift. In a flashback, Yu-chan is shown with his girlfriend, presenting her with a necklace and asking her to never take it off. Later, Yu-chan goes to give Bo-ra additional files to study, but she falls asleep due to exhaustion. Yuchan recalls his former flame Kim, who had a distinctive mark behind her neck, and decides to check Bo-ra while she is sleeping, but Taeju enters the room and wakes her up. Bo-ra stays up all night memorizing the information, and in the morning, she impresses Taeju with her skills by showing him what she learned. Taeju and Yuchan then encounter each other and remember their initial meeting. In a flashback, it is shown that Yuchan had attended a job interview at Taeju's father's company but was turned down. Despite the rejection, Yuchan admired Taeju's perspective and proposed the idea of starting a company together. The following day, Bo-ra rushes to the company for a meeting, but Yuchan notices her inappropriate outfit and takes her shopping for a new one. During the interview, Bo-ra meets the Prime Minister's assistant whom she admires and suggests attending the next meeting with the Prime Minister herself. When Bo-ra accidentally revisits a previous issue, she upsets the Prime Minister's assistant and they storm off. Witnessing this, Yuchan lashes out at Bo-ra, causing her to cry and rush out. Taeju follows Bo-ra and offers her a ride home. During the ride, Taeju questions why she lied about her name to Yuchan, implying that she is familiar with Yuchan and his girlfriend Kim. Bo-ra responds by asking him to stop the car, then exits. Back at home, Bo-ra retrieves a box of items and reads messages from Yuchan to his girlfriend Kim, inquiring about her disappearance. The following day, Yuchan discovers Bo-ra's shoes in his car and decides to throw them in the trash can. Later, Taeju approaches Yuchan and informs him that the assistant of the Prime Minister, Bo-ra, hopes to attend the next meeting but is unable to do so because she was missed. Despite this setback, Yuchan suggests that he can bring her back. Subsequently, Taeju contacts Bo-ra and convinces her to return to the company. When she meets Yuchan, he introduces her to the security department and explains that she will be posing as the department head for 3 months until his new project receives full government funding. He emphasizes the importance of keeping this arrangement a secret. He informs Bo-ra about their upcoming meeting with the Prime Minister's assistant once again. Bo-ra accompanies him to the meeting, which turns out to be successful. Following the meeting, he offers her a ride, but she inquires about her missing shoe. He confesses to discarding her shoe but provides her with money to purchase a new one. Bo-ra feels insulted, sheds tears, and departs. However, impressed by her dedication during a presentation, he decides to make amends by purchasing her a replacement pair of shoes. Additionally, he takes her out to eat at a restaurant, triggering memories of his former love, Kim. When Bo-ra returns to the office, she notices a photo of Yuchan and Taeju together. Yuchan then requests coffee from Bo-ra, but is dissatisfied with the taste. After she remakes it, he still expresses his disapproval, leading Bo-ra to leave in frustration. Back home, Bo-ra receives a notification that she has been accepted for an interview at another company and is required to take a test. Upon arriving at the company, Yuchan informs her that his project is in its final stages, implying that there is no job opportunity for her there. That motivates her to prepare for the test at the other company, but she receives a call from Taeju informing her about a major issue. Bo-ra chooses to abandon the test and rushes to the company where she finds out that the Prime Minister has learned she is not an employee there, leading him to halt funding for the project. Yuchan seems indifferent to the news, but Taeju reveals to him that Bo-ra gave up her job interview for his sake and urges him to retain her at the company, which Yuchan declines. He even goes ahead to book a ticket for a trip. During this time, Bo-ra made an effort every day to meet with the Prime Minister's assistant in order to persuade her to continue funding Yuchan's project. However, the assistant informed her that she no longer trusted their company. When Yuchan returned to Korea, he was informed about Bo-ra's efforts. Upon hearing this, Yuchan felt guilty and decided to make it right by compensating her and taking responsibility. He tried calling her, but she was in a job interview at the time and hung up the phone. Despite this, Yuchan personally went to her location and brought her back with him. He informs her that the Prime Minister has agreed to fund his project and expresses gratitude that she will be hired by his company. Bo-ra is thrilled upon hearing this news and shares it with her friend Min-soo and family, who are all excited for her. Upon arrival at the company, she meets with the Prime Minister's assistant who explains that funding was approved due to Yuchan persuading her of its significance. Bo-ra prepares for her new job and familiarizes herself with her new co-workers. Taeju then comes up to her to congratulate her on getting the job. He later discusses Yu-chan's past love and advises her not to mention the person's name or memories to Yu-chan, as he was very upset when she left. Shortly after, a girl named Min-tae is shown entering the company. It is revealed that she is Taeju's sister who has returned to Korea after a long time. She encounters Yu-chan and is immediately attracted to him, but he pays no attention to her. That evening, Taeju brings Min-tae to Yu-chan's house for dinner, where Min-tae notices a painting on the wall. The following day, Yu-chan attends an exhibition and Min-tae runs into him there. She reminds him that she was the one who helped him with the painting in his house years ago, even though he can't recall her face. Meanwhile, Bo-ra is having dinner with Taeju at a restaurant, and they run into Yu-chan and Min-tae on their way out, where the couple is seen kissing. Bo-ra and Taeju are taken aback and she leaves in a jealous haste. She confides in her friend Min-soo about the incident, keeping her true emotions hidden. The following day at work, Bo-ra hands some files to Yu-chan who brushes it off, clarifying that the kiss was initiated by Min-tae. During lunch, Min-tae approaches him about dating, but he declines, suggesting they remain friends instead. Upon his return, he notices Bo-ra laughing with her colleague Do-jin, causing him to feel jealous. To make matters worse, he witnesses Do-jin driving Bo-ra home and entering her house. Acting impulsively, he contacts the police and reports a burglary at his friend's house. Unfortunately, he is spotted by Min-soo and decides to flee. When the police arrive, they realize the report was false and leave, followed by Do-jin. However, Min-soo informs Bo-ra that she saw Yu-chan outside the house. The next day, Bo-ra confronts Yu-chan at the company and asks him if he was responsible for the incident the day before. He initially denies it, but later admits that he wanted to prevent any rumors about the company from spreading, leading to Bo-ra scolding him out of frustration. That evening, she meets Do-jin and Min-soo, where the latter confesses his feelings for Min-soo and asks her to be his girlfriend, to which she agrees. Meanwhile, Bo-ra realizes she left her cell phone at the office, rushes back to retrieve it, and encounters Yu-chan there. In an attempt to make amends, he invites her to dinner, only to find out that the restaurant is closed for the night. At this juncture, Bo-ra proposes making something for him that she prepares herself. They decide to go shopping together to purchase the necessary ingredients, then head to his place to cook and share a meal. While there, Bo-ra comes across a painting of a girl that surprises her, and they proceed to watch a movie together. Yu-chan eventually falls asleep on her shoulder out of exhaustion, and upon waking up, she feels embarrassed and pretends to be asleep. Yu-chan later wakes Bo-ra up to ask her to go back to her own house. The following day, Yu-chan dismisses Do-jin from his job, leading Bo-ra to become upset as she believes it was in response to the previous incident. She clarifies to him that Do-jin is actually her friend's boyfriend. However, the arrogant Yu-chan dismisses her assertion, claiming that he is not interested in her and will instead pursue a relationship with Min-tae. He approaches Min-tae, expressing his willingness to give their relationship a try, much to her delight. The sight of them together causes jealousy in Bo-ra, but she attempts to push aside her emotions. To celebrate receiving her first salary, she purchases gifts for both Taeju and Yu-chan. The following day, she rushes to the office to inform Yu-chan about an upcoming meeting, where he asks for her help in tying the tie she had bought for him. For the first time, he was finally able to see Bo-ra's face clearly, and he was surprised, but their moment was interrupted by Taeju. Later that night, Taeju, Bo-ra, Yu-chan, and Min-tae all met up at a restaurant. Yu-chan introduced Min-tae to Bo-ra, who came across as a pleasant girl. During the conversation, something Bo-ra said triggered memories of Yu-chan's girlfriend Kim. That night, Yu-chan dreamt for the first time and was able to recognize Bo-ra's face. Upon waking up, he hurried to Bo-ra's house, where they were given privacy by Min-soo, who decided to leave. Yu-chan tells Bo-ra that he was able to catch a glimpse of her face once and wants to try and see it again. Unfortunately, the electricity goes out. He asks Bo-ra if she is familiar with his beloved Kim because her actions remind him of her, but she denies knowing Kim. The following day, Bo-ra confesses to her friend Min-soo that she first met Kim at the hospital where her grandmother was undergoing treatment. She admits feeling guilty for not informing Yu-chan about this. When Bo-ra decides to come clean at the company, Yuchan receives a call from the Prime Minister's assistant confirming that the project has been approved for government funding, bringing joy to everyone involved. While on her way home, she attempts to follow him in order to confess everything, but she notices Min-tae accompanying him, leading her to hand over a hard drive containing a project made by Doo-jin. She explains that Doo-jin instructed her to give it to Yuchan directly. The following day at the office, she tries to persuade him to invest in Doo-jin's project, and he agrees, informing him that he will support his project financially, much to his delight. Subsequently, a party is thrown by the company to celebrate the success of their project. During the party, Yuchan publicly mentions Bo-ra's name on the mic, as she is the only one whose face he can recognize, causing Min-tae to feel envious and upset. She accompanies Bo-ra to the bathroom, warning her not to even think about approaching Yuchan. Bo-ra, feeling shattered, exits the bathroom yelling at him that she has loved him since the day she saw him looking for Kim. Yuchan is surprised that she is familiar with Kim. When Bo-ra wakes up at home, she feels remorseful and decides not to return to the company. The next day, Yuchan is seen losing his temper completely at the company, confiding in Taeju that Bo-ra already knows about his beloved Kim and had used her name to capture his attention when they first met. He expresses his desire not to see her again. Taeju approaches Bo-ra to inquire about Kim, and she responds with tears. He later informs Yuchan at the office that Kim passed away from cancer 7 years ago, and Yuchan tries to conceal his grief by focusing on work. Taeju then pleads with Bo-ra not to see Yuchan anymore as he is hurt by her actions, and he expresses his love for her. Meanwhile, Yuchan is seen crying heavily over his deceased girlfriend and comes across a message from Bo-ra revealing the truth. She discloses that she first met Kim at the hospital 7 years ago, and they quickly became friends. Kim confided in her about her boyfriend Yuchan, expressing her desire for him not to know about her illness so he could lead a normal life. Kim also divulged all of Yuchan's secrets and behaviors to her, causing her to develop feelings for him. Yuchan is deeply moved and recalls all the moments they shared together. Destiny reunites them when he unexpectedly spots her on the street. Yuchan confesses with a heavy heart that he has been trying to forget her, but she is the only one he can vividly remember, which he despises, causing Bo-ra to break down in tears. However, he chooses to bring her to the city where Kim had passed away so she can visit his grave. While they are in the car, Bo-ra informs him that before Kim's death, her mother gave her a box containing gifts from Yuchan and some of her belongings. She also instructed Bo-ra not to reveal to Yuchan that she had passed away. Yuchan becomes angry once again, stating that Bo-ra made a mistake by withholding the truth and denying him the opportunity to say goodbye to his loved one. Bo-ra then decides to take Yuchan to her family's home, since he has nowhere else to go. Meanwhile, Min-tae shares Yuchan's whereabouts with Taeju, who eventually learns that Bo-ra is staying with him. The following day, Bo-ra observes Yuchan working and decides to share some of her ideas with him. Later that night, Yuchan inquires about her feelings, and Bo-ra admits that she genuinely likes him and promises not to disturb him anymore. Before the day ends, Yuchan tragically discards his cherished painting into the water, shedding tears of sorrow alongside Bo-ra. Meanwhile, their colleague who was at the company at night notices some unusual activity coming from Yuchan's office. He hurries to inform the authorities who rush to the scene, only to be ambushed by a mysterious man, resulting in the breaking of glass and a fall. Once he is informed about Taeju's condition, Yuchan rushes to the hospital to check on him. The doctor reassures Yuchan that Taeju is okay. When Taeju is asked if he saw the attacker's face, he denies it but inquires about Yuchan's feelings for Bo-ra, revealing his own feelings for her. Yuchan becomes uneasy but denies any romantic interest in Bo-ra. Bo-ra arrives at the hospital shortly after and informs Taeju that Yuchan offered her job back, but she cannot reciprocate his feelings. When Taeju asks if she has feelings for someone else, she confesses that she likes Yuchan, causing Taeju emotional pain. Bo-ra goes back to work, and Min-tae notices her laughing with Yuchan. On the way home, she asks Yuchan to transfer Bo-ra to another department because she didn't like her, but he refuses. Later, Taeju reappears at the company to review Yuchan's proposal for a new project, but it is turned down by the board. Angered, Yuchan decides to sell his shares in the company to fund his project, but this is also rejected. That night, Yuchan goes to see Bo-ra and finds her crying over the project rejection. He hugs her to comfort her, but they are seen by Tae-ju, who also came to visit. As a result, he leaves in frustration. The following day, it was discovered that the company's system had been hacked and sensitive information had been exposed. This caused panic among the employees, and Yuchan took charge, instructing everyone to continue working. Meanwhile, Tae-ju confided in his sister Min-tae, expressing his frustration that Yuchan had ruined everything for the company and had taken away his love interest. He plotted with Min-tae to take Yuchan abroad and care for him once he broke down. It was later revealed that Tae-ju was the one responsible for hacking the system and leaking the client's information in order to usurp Yuchan as the CEO of the company. Afterwards, Min-tae approaches Yuchan and inquires about his feelings towards her. Yuchan responds that he is unsure but is willing to make an effort to love her. Upon hearing this, Min-tae makes the decision to end their relationship. At the same time, Tae-ju hands over a flash drive to the man who previously assaulted him, containing additional customer information with instructions to leak it. Despite this, Yuchan initiates an investigation to find out who leaked the information. Later, Min-tae informs Bo-ra that Tae-ju will soon become the new CEO and warns her that if she does not resign, Yuchan will be fired. An anxious Bo-ra assures Min-tae that she will resign shortly. Meanwhile, Yuchan is busy trying to persuade investors to support his new project, but they are all furious. Tae-ju finally reprimands Yuchan for his arrogant behavior and warns him to put an end to his actions. Following this, Tae-ju accompanies Bo-ra to meet with the Prime Minister's assistant, who personally requests her help. Despite Bo-ra's efforts to comfort him, Yuchan expresses his belief that things will not improve. Bo-ra advises her to stay away from Yuchan, as he will soon be traveling abroad with Min-tae. Nonetheless, Bo-ra did not give up. Instead, she approached Yuchan and advised him to go back to the company to address all the issues. Yuchan ultimately heeded her advice and returned to the company, opting to sell some of his shares to resolve the client's problems. Despite his efforts, the company's board made the decision to remove him from his position, a decision that left him taken aback, especially when he learned that even Tae-ju had concurred. Bo-ra inquired whether he intended to abandon everything and go on a journey with Min-tae. Much to her surprise, Yuchan revealed that he had already ended his relationship with Min-tae and had no intention of leaving the company. However, the following day he realizes that he has been terminated from his position at the company. The man who had been investigating the information leak informs Yuchan that Tae-ju was the one responsible for hacking into the system. Yuchan is taken aback and confronts Tae-ju with this revelation. Tae-ju admits that they were actually partners all along, but Yuchan never treated him as such, acting like a CEO without considering his input. Subsequently, Yuchan decides to announce his resignation from the company, while Tae-ju declares himself as the new CEO. Yuchan invites the employees to come with him in starting a new company, but they all decline. Despite the rejections, Bo-ra agrees to join him and assures him that everything will work out. She suggests using Do-jin's office as a temporary space for their company. After visiting the office, Yuchan decides to stay there overnight instead of going to Bo-ra's place. However, he becomes aware of the changes that Tae-ju wants to implement in his project through the news. Yuchan visits Tae-ju's assistant to plead for the changes to be stopped. The Prime Minister's assistant rejects Tae-ju's proposed changes to the project while meeting with Bo-ra. She hands Bo-ra a file detailing all the errors in the new project plan. Bo-ra rushes to inform Yuchan, revealing that the Prime Minister's assistant wants him to take charge of the project. Yuchan immediately begins working diligently. During the company meeting, everyone is astonished to learn that the Prime Minister has approved Yuchan's version of the project over Tae-ju's. As a result, the employees flock to Yuchan's new office, pledging their support to him. Yuchan launches his new business with support from Bo-ra and the staff members. He receives a phone call from the police informing him that the individual who leaked the information has surrendered. Upon meeting the informant, Yuchan realizes that he is a former employee who was terminated unfairly, similar to Do-jin. Feeling remorseful, Yuchan believes that everything that occurred was his fault. He visits Tae-ju to apologize for his previous arrogance towards them. Tae-ju is moved and feels guilty, to the point where he does not respond. However, he soon finds out that Taeju has already surrendered to the authorities. Yuchan takes back his position as the CEO of the company. They visit Taeju in prison, where he expresses his anticipation for Taeju's eventual release. Dujin and his team also return to assist Yuchan at the company like they used to. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's assistant informs Bo-ra of her upcoming trip abroad, inviting Bo-ra to accompany her on her work journey. Just before Bo-ra's departure, Yuchan rushes to the airport and confesses his love to her, promising to wait for her return. The series concludes with Taeju and Bo-ra rejoining the company after their respective absences. Yuchan embraces Bo-ra, and the entire cast rejoices with applause.